Evil doesn't scream in your face. It whispers softly in your ear until you believe it. A quote by Anonymous. We have all heard the saying to keep your friends close and your enemies closer, to slow down in life, be cautious, and never underestimate a threat. To be alert is to be safe, but that only works when the danger can be foreseen. But what happens when the unexpected occurs? When you're blindsided by fate and everything you were taught means nothing. May 28th, 2003. The world would make way for Asia Cowell. She would be brought into this world by her parents, Asia Cowell and Travis Simmons. The place she called home would be Norfolk, Virginia, a place where she was born and raised. Asia is described as someone whom in their younger years went through a lot, such as bullying. But although she endured these things, she always managed to come out on top. Asia was generous. She was funny. She was also sweet. Asia was brought up amongst her siblings, inside of a caring home, a home that was nurturing. Outside of the normal things such as singing or dancing, Asia enjoyed spending time with family and friends. She would receive her education in the Norfolk public school system, where by the year of 2020, she would be 17 years old and attending Granby High School. As a teenager, Asia is described as being passionate about changing the world, someone who enjoyed helping those in need. She was a true friend, someone who possessed the ability to change the atmosphere in the room. Anyone who had the privilege of knowing her would say she had an amazing personality, an amazing smile, and last but not least, an amazing heart. At the young age of 17, she knew what hard work was. At one point, she worked at Papa John's, but she was also an aspiring entrepreneur. She did hair, and on top of all of that, she was a fashion designer. Asia was strong-willed, someone who knew the importance of her future. But sadly, the way this world works is different. It doesn't matter how good of a person you are, or how good your intentions may be. Somehow bad things manage to come your way. May of 2020 would be especially hard for Asia. Around this time, she was dating a guy who was a little bit older. He was 19 years old, a guy who goes by the name of Asia Cowell. By May of 2020, she had called it quits, but he wasn't taking no for an answer. One day, he took her against her will and even attempted to violate her. After this incident occurred, Asia wasted no time contacting the authorities. She immediately pressed charges. He was arrested and taken to the local jail. So, Asia Cowell is incarcerated, waiting on a court date. But life has to go on. Asia's still in school. In fact, she's elated because she was set to graduate in June of 2021. But the sad part about life is, it doesn't always go the way you plan. Asia Cowell would never see her graduation day. Little did the people around her know that that smiling face, that joyous laugh, would soon become a memory. September 7th, 2020. The day was normal for Asia, except for on this day she had a hair appointment. After she finished doing her client's hair, she was supposed to call her aunt to pick her up, but she never made the call. As time elapsed, the family knew something was wrong, so they would officially report her missing to the local authorities. The investigation would go as normal, interviewing family and friends, seeing if there was anyone with ill intent, but no one could help. Everyone was puzzled. Asia Cowell was simply missing, a teenage girl who vanished without a trace. For the lead detective on the case, time was of the essence, but time continued to elapse. Before you know it, days had passed, and there was no new information. Meanwhile, the family has formed search parties, and they're actively searching for their loved one. The only thing that they can do at this point is be hopeful and reach out to the media in hopes of generating leads.
Police are looking for a missing teenager. Asia Cowell was last seen on Monday, September 7th. Today, friends and family were out searching for the 17-year-old. The search started at the Harris Teeter on Granby Street, and they say they'll continue searches every day until they find her.
I ain't gonna be satisfied till she home. I don't care about what happened the day of. She ain't home. 6, 7 days later, she's not home. I can't look at her picture. Her pictures make me smile. I can't look at her pictures because they make me cry. Because she ain't here.
If you have any information on her whereabouts, you're urged to call Norfolk Police.
2 weeks had passed in this case, and there was still no sighting of her. However, in late September, there would be a break in the case. On September 23rd of 2020, at approximately 11:15 a.m., Newport News police would respond to a call about a deceased person.
You just want to talk me to where it's at instead of walking back there? What? Yeah, I did, yes. How far back are we talking?
3-minute walk.
A 3-minute walk?
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna go.
2 to 3.
All right, there's an ambulance coming, but
You'll
you wanna
be able to flag them down easily.
from there? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's sit about halfway.
I guess you respond to the first thing all the time and see what the something.
All right. Well, sorry you had to find it.
Real strange. Anyway.
I hear the medics coming up. Citizens advise it's about a 2-minute walk from where our vehicles are behind the listed address. Ooh, didn't know I was going to be doing walking today. Oh, I got him. Okay. If you want to walk back up to your car and wait there, one of my officers can get some information from me because you found them, and we'll go from there. Did you talk to him or? Oh, yeah. All right. Woo! You can just send one medic back, severely decomposed, skin's falling off. This is definitely a deceased person.
Following the discovery, the scene would be taped off and further analyzed. The victim would later be positively identified as 17-year-old Asia Cowell. The month of September would come to a close, and there was no one in custody. By now, there are Justice for Asia hashtags all over social media. The family was mourning, and the community was longing for answers, but those answers wouldn't come soon.
A local family is facing unimaginable pain. They are desperate for updates in the death of 17-year-old Asia Cowell after going missing last month in Norfolk.
It's an unimaginable loss. Asia Cowell's family is still coming to terms with their pain. Asia disappeared from Norfolk on September 7th. 2 weeks later, Newport News police found her body off of Warwick Boulevard.
It was unbelievable. Even now, I still feel like I'm in this dream, this nightmare that I want to wake up from.
Asia's aunt, Tatina Cowell, said she and her family are still searching for answers. They want to know what happened between the day Asia disappeared and the day police found her body.
The detective have asked us to just be patient. And that's what's hard. It's so many questions. I don't know why this happened. And so it's like dealing with this void and dealing with all these questions and not having the answers yet and just still trying to be patient.
Cowell believes someone knows those answers. She hopes they come forward and share what they know with police.
December 2nd, 2020. After a lengthy investigation, authorities would finally announce the arrest of 2 people. The culprits in question, then 30-year-old Crystal Albritton and 17-year-old Deja Feaster. At the time of their arrest, authorities weren't saying exactly what led them to these suspects, but by the next day, there will be a third person in custody. Authorities would announce the arrest of 38-year-old Devin Albritton, who happened to be the husband of Crystal. All 3 suspects were facing murder charges, as well as conspiracy. But the next question would be, why? Why did these 3 people with ill hearts decide to do the unthinkable? When both Crystal and Devin Albritton were questioned, they would deny any involvement. But they forgot to factor in one thing, that they had a co-defendant who was young, someone who at this point is now scared and realizing that they're facing life behind bars, and pressure creates cracks. 17-year-old Deja Feaster would reveal all. She would tell not only why, but where and when. The first question to answer would be, what was their connection? Well, Deja Feaster happened to be the sister of Deshaun Coram, and Deshaun Coram had a court date coming up for the incident that happened with Asia. Among the attempted violation, he was also facing several other charges that ensured he would spend plenty of time behind bars. It isn't clear whose idea it was, but Deja Feaster and Crystal Albritton decided that Asia could never make it to court. Which brings us back to September 7th of 2020. On this day, Crystal Albritton would contact Asia and she would book a hair appointment. But this hair appointment was no more than a mere trick to lure Asia to her home. Like the hard worker and driven person she is, Asia accepts the appointment. She then goes to Crystal's home, which is located off Granby Street and Little Creek Road. At this home are 3 people: Crystal Albritton, Devin Albritton, and Deja Feaster. When Asia arrives, she's immediately tied to a bar stool. Crystal then takes her phone and her personal belongings. Now stripped of her things, Crystal and Deja decide to blindfold her. She's then thrown in the back of an SUV. Crystal hops in the driver's seat and Deja is in the back with Asia. At this time, Deja now has a weapon. This weapon is being used to contain Asia. Crystal puts the car in drive and begins a long ride. While Asia is being driven away, Devin Albritton would stay behind and he would get rid of her cell phone and personal things. Deja and Crystal would end up driving Asia over 30 miles away to a city located in Virginia called Newport News. Once there, Asia would be taken behind a strip club in a wooded area. She's forced to walk for a certain amount of time, and then Crystal orders her to stop. At this moment in time, Asia is frantic. She's crying. She's frightened, wanting nothing more than to live. She tells them that she won't testify in the trial. While Asia is begging for her life, Crystal is losing patience. She has now ordered Deja to end it. Deja then raises the firearm, but she doesn't have it in her. When Crystal realizes that Deja won't do it, she then takes the firearm and she orders Asia to turn around. So she slowly turns around, and when she does, Crystal fires the weapon and strikes her in the back head region. She's then left there in the middle of the woods for 2 weeks before someone found her. Crystal Albritton, Devin Albritton, and Deja Feaster would all have their day in court. For Devin's role in this incident, he would receive a sentence of 50 years with 11 years suspended. Devin claims that he's innocent and that he knew nothing about what was going to happen to Asia. He said the only thing that he was guilty of was getting rid of her phone and getting rid of the weapon. I'm not sure if he's being honest or not, but one thing is for certain, he could have stopped it, but he didn't. As for Deja Feaster, for her cooperation, she was allowed to plead guilty, and she received a sentence of 20 years. With the evidence stacked against her and no hope, Crystal Albritton would show up to court and plead guilty. For her role in this incident, she would receive a life sentence.
Today, a judge sentenced Crystal Albritton to life in prison for the death of 17-year-old Asia Cowell. Alex Littlehell spoke to Cowell's family about the emotional moments inside the courtroom.
Asia Cowell's family and friends packed the Newport News courthouse Friday afternoon, her aunt even taking the stand, emotionally breaking down, calling her, quote, a light so bright. And even though there is a void left by Asia's absence today, they do feel that justice has been served.
Because there is a sense of she has a certain power over us because of the hurt that she placed on us. And the reality is Asia wouldn't want us to have it.
Today ends 1 years-long journey for the Cowell family.
That's the part today I'm going to choose to focus on, that my niece got her justice today.
A judge sentenced Crystal Albritton to life in prison, charged with first-degree murder in the death of Granby High School student 17-year-old Asia Cowell.
What happened to 17-year-old Asia Cowell is a complete tragedy. She was a young and bright soul who was headed places. Someone who never got to reach their dreams. It's truly a sad story. Rest in peace, Asia Cowell. Thank you for being a light for others.
What is that supposed to be? I can't see. I cannot see. You make me sick. I don't look like that.
I just got on that day by myself.
Yeah, I'm recording his video. I ain't live. She's pulling out bites.
So how you doing? How you doing?
How you doing?
You know when you gotta
Stop
get
pulling out bites.
you gotta get it out. You know?
I'm gonna post this later. I want you later.